Thank you for joining me, Mr. Hazarika. Looking at the whole initiative of yours, how did you come upon it? You're a journalist.
We came across this case while traveling across the Brahmaputra of a young woman who died in childbirth because she couldn't get to a hospital in time. She died virtually on a boat crossing the Brahmaputra. And at that time, I thought this was unacceptable in my own home state. So then that's when I thought about we need to use old technology, which has been around since we've started building the first boats in the world, to tweak it, get doctors on board, get nurses, get basic services, and take it to villages on the islands. And that's how it began.
From, it being an idea to actually executing it, how did you do it?
Very simple. We heard about this India marketplace competition in 2004, which was run by the World Bank. It was the first such competition by the bank. And we competed, and it was the theme was bridging rural gaps. And I gave an idea which I knew would win because it's such an attractive idea, a ship of hope in a valley of flood. So you would win with an idea like that, right? So we got a small grant, a small award, $20,000, which is not very much even at today's rates. And we built the first boat.
You get the grant of $20,000 and you put it into this one unit. What was this unit capable of doing? And when you started out, what did you think?
So we started in one district, Dibrugarh, which is a bit like our Karma Bhumi. Today we have a community radio station there as well. And we had an education initiative for the schools. So we started there and partnered with the district administration. So that's how we expanded from one boat to 5 boats, 5 districts to 10, and now to 13.
13 now.
13 districts, but 15 boat units.
How many, just in Assam alone, how many boats are required to actually deal with the crisis?
I think you really need a boat in every district, barring the 2 hill districts. So you would need about at least 25 units, 25 to 30 units. In areas which high populations, you need more density of population because there's more people, simply. I'll tell you a simple story. On one of the trips in Upper Assam, the boat was coming back from 3 days of camps. And on the way back, it saw on a sort of land spit a couple waving to them to stop. So they thought there must be a problem, and they stopped. And they found that they were carrying, the couple had a child, a young girl who was very, very sick. She was turning blue. She had acute respiratory distress, but they had the medicines. So they were able to help her and heal her, and she survived. So the doctor said, if we were late by half an hour, she wouldn't have been there. Then he asked, like a journalist, he asked, but you seem to be waiting for us. How did you know that we would be coming? So this man said something which is quite remarkable. He said, if you go at that spit, the channel is divided into 2. If you go on this side, you come back in 5 days. Go on this side, you come back in 3 days. I've been seeing you for the last 2 years. You are to come back on the 3rd day. And that is a huge repository of trust. It tells you really that people believe in you, and there are very few greater things than that in an initiative like this. If you save a life, a child's life, a mother's life, saving a world.
What is the biggest challenge? Is it the staff, doctors?
That's one of the challenges, but in all these areas, the initial challenge was winning the trust of people. I never think of a physical obstacle as a barrier. It's a challenge which can be overcome, but it's the human attitude which is, I think, critical in resolving. This is really the critical core of the process, that people are involved, they take pride in the project, and our team is extremely courageous, extremely talented. It is difficult sometimes to find doctors and nurses, but at times we've managed with one doctor. The ideal situation is to have 2 doctors on every boat, 3 nurses, and a lab assistant. Each unit has a lab which does basic tests, and a pharmacy. A pharmacy is ad hoc. It's set up where in the camp, on the island, or it can be at times of flood on the boat.
What you've done with an idea and a few dedicated people, government should have been doing on their own in many, many levels, because the amount of resources, the amount of taxpayer money that they have. What's missing for actually creating this environment for governments to be more responsive to people's needs?
I think governments don't think of these as initially as something that is really within their ken. These are constituencies which are both geographically, socially and politically, they suffer this triple whammy of exclusion. So, and the communities by themselves in the areas where they live are not huge. Taken together, it's 2.5 to 3 million people. That's 1/10 of the population of Assam lives on islands. But in various districts, they form small pockets. So they may not be as important to political leaders as they should be.
Can you tell me a bit of the journey of one of your boats? What happens every morning? Do they get out? How do they reach out to people?
Day 1 of the boat clinic begins. And once they're on the boat, they chat with each other. There is the normal thing of food and partaking of whatever it is. They, as they approach a point, they're all ready. They in their gowns and with the medicine. So it's really very well set up. If you go there, you'll see that within a few minutes, the tent is set up. The tables are laid, the chairs are ready, the registers are out, and people are ready and waiting for the first patients within a matter of minutes. And they don't go until the last person is treated.
There are a lot of people who've tried doing things and have failed. How did you succeed? Could you give advice to what it took for you to succeed working with government, working with a much larger model then, and taking a small idea and then expanding it to the size it is today?
The important thing was to see that it could work. I'm a hack, I'm a journalist. I never brought anybody to these sites before I realized that this is a great story, but I need to see that it actually works. So people started taking interest, so we stepped on the gas a bit. And I think there were 4 or 5 qualities or things that we need to make an initiative like this sustainable. One is that you must believe in the idea, yourself. And it must be, that belief must be so passionate as to inspire others to believe in it. The second thing, you need a good team. Because without a team, this is no solo journey. 3, the team must be sufficiently trained and capable of taking initiatives on their own. 4, because it's specifically related to water and boats, you need a good crew. Nobody is better than the next man. The doctors can't work without the crew. The crew cannot deliver that service without the people on board who are to actually treat people and so on.
What is your journey ahead from here?
We're building a hospital ship, which will be a hospital ship with it will be 3 decks, a big ship, 120 feet long, 130 feet long. It will cater to different districts. The smaller boats can act as feeder boats, bringing patients. It will have an operation theater, an OPD. It will have full-time doctors on board. It will have a delivery room, a recovery room, a ward. So we hope in an area, a region, a state that is known for terrible challenges of security, of human security, of other physical security and disaster and all these things, we hope to establish more models of the kind that are sustainable and that actually bring services of quality and sustainability to people.
Thank you for your great work, and hopefully we'll get to follow your work a bit more.
Thank you.
Thank you.